What's going on, everyone? Hope you all had a good weekend and enjoyed all the games from a busy NFL Week 5. Now, some teams had bye weeks, so that has begun. But the games that we did get, I thought were pretty good. Starting off with the early morning game that, yes, I did wake up for, Browns and Vikings. Obviously, we already talked about, or actually, I was away last weekend, so we didn't even really talk about the Thursday night game result, which I actually picked the Rams and the 49ers with Mac Jones. Get it done on the road. The Rams went for it late in the game on a 4th and 1. They ran Kyren Williams right into the defensive line. Didn't get there. The 49ers hang on and they win it. That was a very, very impressive win. And the 49ers are 4-1. 4-1 with all these injuries. Their starting quarterback's been hurt. George Kittle's been on IR. Like, they're banged up. Their best wide receiver, who was a rookie last year, didn't play last week, and they still got the job done against the Rams. So very impressive win by the 49ers. Now, overall this week with our picks, did not do good. Did not do well, guys. A lot of picks did not go our way. And the thing that bothers me most is I had good hunches on some upsets, and I didn't follow my gut, and I should have. But, all right, so we talked about the 49ers-Rams game. Again, we had the Rams to win, but yeah, the Niners, so impressive. All right. First win of the week came at 6:30 in the morning, West Coast time, where is when I woke up to watch this Minnesota game at Cleveland. And that was a good game. Like, if you're a fan, obviously as a Viking fan, wasn't a good game because I was losing hair. I was so stressed out during that game. But if you're just a regular fan, it was an enjoyable game, back and forth, pretty close. Ultimately, the Vikings set up a game-winning drive and get the job done. So the Vikings take care of that. The line was 3.5, and they ended up winning by 4. So that was a good game to start off the weekend. And then we went on to Indianapolis, where the Raiders took on the Colts without Mark Sanchez calling the game. We still don't have enough details to really make an opinion on that whole situation, but Sanchez was stabbed multiple times by, I think it was a 65-year-old guy who apparently Sanchez started beef with, and then got arrested from the hospital. So we need more details. But anywho, the Colts, they got the job done, and Geno Smith just does not look right. He doesn't look like the Geno Smith that we've all come accustomed to seeing. And, well, the Colts are looking really good. They won 40-6. All right, the Giants at the Saints. Look, I picked the Giants because I thought Jackson Dart, they got some momentum. The first game he played, they scripted it. You know, they set him up to not have difficult, they set him up nicely as a rookie quarterback, making your first start. That's how it should be. And they played a good Chargers team. Well, the Chargers also lost this week. And, the Giants ended up losing to the Saints. New Orleans, impressive. Giants had 5 turnovers. Now, Jackson Dart, I'm going to take a look at the box score. I didn't think he played that bad. I mean, if you look at the box score, he went 26 of 40, 202 yards. And he had 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So, I mean, the touchdown to turnover ratio isn't great. But really, it was just all of them turning the ball over. And, yeah, the Giants ended up losing 26-14. All right, Dallas at the Jets. The Jets are the saddest team in the NFL. They are now 0-5 with Aaron Glenn at the helm. And they just bad penalties, and they just don't look good at all. Sad loss for the Jets. There's nothing really they can do. Justin Fields is their starter, and he's just not that good. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation, and that team just isn't clicking. So the Cowboys, meanwhile, they look solid. I mean, Dak's playing arguably the best football of any quarterback in the league. He really is. He had 4 touchdowns in this game. And, for the Jets, it's just been turnovers, and it's just been, not great. Through 5 weeks, they have not forced a single turnover, which is an NFL record. That just doesn't really ever happen. So it's a sad 0-5 Jets, and the Cowboys, looking all right. George Pickens had a touchdown and looked pretty good. Jake Ferguson had 2 touchdowns, so good for the Cowboys. All right, we move on to Philly, and this might have been one of the better games of the week. Denver, the Broncos in Philadelphia against the Eagles. I had the Eagles. They had been undefeated up to this point, playing good football, but man, honestly, Denver, they look, it's weird. I don't want to even say they look good. They are good, but they don't look good in the sense like when you watch them, you're not like, oh, this is the best team in the NFL. But they can keep up, I think, with any team in the NFL. They just took on the Eagles on the road. Sean Payton goes for it on a 2-point conversion. He could have tied the game with the extra point, but he went for 2 and ended up converting. And then they tacked on a field goal later on for the win. But big win there for Denver. They're looking good. That AFC West division is crazy, especially now that the Chiefs lost on Monday Night Football. So we'll get to that. All right, Miami at Carolina. Carolina got the job done. Miami was up early, and then Carolina turned it on and got the job done. Bryce Young is probably the hardest quarterback to really understand. He can look like absolute crap in a half, and then the second half, maybe the defense starts, relaxing a little, and he turns it on, and then he has the momentum, and then he looks good. So who knows? So anyway, I had Carolina, and Carolina ended up winning, but it's not like I feel great about the Panthers. It's just more so I feel bad about the Dolphins. I think that they're just not good at all. Houston at Baltimore. Again, another one I should have trusted my gut. Houston's got a good defense. They have their starting quarterback, and Baltimore doesn't. They had Cooper Rush. He didn't look good at all. And, yeah, they got trounced. Houston destroyed them 44-10. So good for the Texans. Baltimore is now 1-4, and I don't want to say the season's over, but it is hard to recover from a 1-4 record. We will see. And Lamar is not guaranteed to be back next week. All right, Tennessee at Arizona, arguably the stupidest game of the week. Arizona is who I picked, and they had this game all but sealed. And then their running back decided to drop the football before crossing the goal line, which turned into a touchback. The Titans were able to score. And then later, the Titans are driving, trying to get it even closer. They throw an interception. The guy, in the process of running, trying to run back the interception, fumbles. His teammate kicks the ball. So now they're playing soccer on the field. And then the Titans guy recovers it in the Cardinals end zone, and it's a Titans touchdown. And, I don't know what to make of this Cardinals team. Their record isn't horrendous, but they don't look good. They look like easily like one of the worst teams. And I don't think they're like top 5 worst teams, but they're 2-3, and I would put them in that pile of dog crap teams. All right. Tampa Bay at Seattle. This was the game of the week by far. I'm looking at the box score because this game had everything. Baker Mayfield, stud. Sam Darnold, stud. Ultimately, unfortunately for Sam Darnold, his interception turned out to be the difference at the end. Look, it's going to be on him. It's his fault. But ultimately, it was just a bang-bang play. He threw it. It ricocheted off a guy's helmet and gets intercepted by Levante David, the linebacker. Baker went 29 for 33. 4 incompletions. That is it. 379, 2 touchdowns, and only took 1 sack. And the stuff he's doing, look, no one's talking about it like this, but if the season ended today, and again, it's only week 5, he's MVP. He is the MVP of the league right now. I'm sorry. Nobody's even close, in my opinion. They're 4-1. He's made every drive that he's needed to make, every late 4th down conversion he's needed to make. It's been him. And the Buccaneers are 4-1. And Seattle is not a bad defense, and he only had 4 incompletions when passing the ball 33 times. You saw the reflex there? Jeez. Yeah. Kidding. Anyway, big time win for Tampa Bay, man. That's huge. And Sam Darnold, he's fine. I mean, he played great also. He only had 6 incompletions, 28 for 34, 341, 4 touchdowns, and that 1 pick. He had no sacks, but that pick, again, they were in position to try to drive down and tie the game, and it gets intercepted, or to take the lead. Sorry, I think it was tied at that point. It gets intercepted, and Tampa already at that point was in Seattle territory now, and then they just kicked the field goal to win it. So, and Emeka Egbuka, geez, so many teams passed on this guy. He's wide receiver 1. He's going to be in the top 3 wide receiver conversations probably by the end of the season. Unfortunately for Malik Neighbors, that got injured and, he's out for the whole year. I think Emeka Egbuka has taken his spot. Like, this guy is insane. So good for them. Detroit at Cincinnati, not much to talk about here. Not because it's the Lions, because the Lions are freaking incredible. But they won 37-24 in Cincinnati. And all you need to know is at one point in the game, Jamar Chase led the Bengals in tackles. Yes, tackles. And he's a wide receiver. And that's because Jake Browning threw interceptions that were intended for Jamar Chase. And Jamar Chase had to now turn and make the defensive play and tackle those guys that were returning it. So good for Detroit. They're off to 4-1, 4 wins in a row after looking bad against Green Bay, but they look great. And they're looking really good. All right, Washington at the Chargers. I had the Chargers. The Chargers were up 10-0. It looked like it was going to be the Chargers' day. Then Washington turned it on. It seemed like the Chargers forgot how to play football. Washington did their thing, shut down Justin Herbert. And honestly, just were able to push around that Chargers depleted offensive line. And again, these games are won in the trenches, and they did that. So good for Washington. They got the win. And now that they have Jaden Daniels back, they're in business. They're 3-2. And the Chargers now dropped 2 in a row. So now they're 3-2. New England at Buffalo. Great game. Buffalo didn't look as powerful. And I've said this before when the Baltimore Ravens played the Buffalo Bills in week 1 of the regular season, the first game. Well, not the first game because Philly had the first game, but I'm saying the first week. And it was a great game. And Buffalo ended up squeezing it out and winning 41-40. And I said, if this is what these defenses are like, they're not Super Bowl defenses. And sure, maybe they can win some games, but you don't win a Super Bowl with a crappy defense. And this is what I'm talking about. Because in this Sunday Night Football game, the offense for the Bills wasn't really all there. They only scored 20 points. Patriots defense is pretty good, so give them credit. But when your offense isn't scoring 41, can your defense get the job done? And the Buffalo defense didn't. Drake May looked like one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He went 22 for 30, 273. He didn't throw any touchdowns, but I think he ran for one. He didn't run for one, but he was just, he just was making plays. He averaged 9.1 per pass. Stephon Diggs had 10 catches for 146 yards. The Bills defense just couldn't stop the Patriots offense when they needed to get stops. And that's what happens. So Buffalo gets dinged. They're still 4-1. They're still at the top of the AFC East, but now the Patriots are there at 3-2 right behind them. And again, if the Buffalo defense doesn't get fixed, they're not sniffing the Super Bowl. Like, they're just not. That's not. Teams like that don't end up winning Super Bowls. So we'll see. But I mentioned that as a concern after week 1. And obviously, on the other side, where I was saying it was a concern for Baltimore also to give up 41 points. Major concern for them. That's why they are 1-4. All right. And last game of the week was Kansas City at Jacksonville. I picked KC. I should have gone with my gut because where I actually did bet money on Jacksonville to win. So I got the money line right. But on here, I didn't trust my gut yet. Maybe it was just a matter of it was a few days before the game. I don't know. But yeah, Jacksonville got the job done. Trevor Lawrence had a pick that should have been called a pass interference. So even that interception on him, it's not really on him. The guy was clearly interfered with, and then he ended up throwing it to a wide open Chiefs guy because his guy wasn't there to make the catch because he was interfered with. The Kansas City team, their offense doesn't look electric like what we've been used to in years past, maybe not last year, but in years past. And a problem that's sneaking up on them is their defense doesn't look as good either. And again, defense makes that difference when your offense is having a bad day. And Jacksonville did it. I mean, it was an upset. Jacksonville definitely was not favored. And they did what they had to do. I was very much down on Liam Cohen at the start of the season. Duval, that press conference still to this day, not one of his finest moments. But his coaching is looking damn good. They're 4-1. So the AFC South, between them at 4-1 and the Colts at 4-1, Colts probably should have been 5-0 to be honest, but they ended up losing to the Rams when their guy fumbled while reaching for the end zone in a simple mistake as well. So that AFC South suddenly, and don't forget the Texans are in that division too, who was most people's favorites to win that division. Not mine. I had the Colts winning that division, but ultimately bad week, 6-8, not great. We hope we can redo that and do better next week. We'll be back, but a fun week of football. And before I go, update, the Bengals look like absolute crap, as you know, against the Lions. So they have traded for Joe Flacco because now that the Browns moved on from Flacco to Dylan Gabriel, which I thought looked like a pretty good quarterback. He didn't turn the ball over. And for these young guys, I think that's what's important is keeping the turnovers down. If you have a solid defense, it's going to keep you in the game and let your playmakers make plays. He didn't look great when passing the ball like further than 20 yards. So I don't know if that's just him not being accurate or maybe jitters or whatever. We'll see, obviously, the bigger the sample size. But the Browns are clearly moving in that direction, giving him a chance. If he doesn't look great, then they probably give Shedeur Sanders a chance. But they traded Joe Flacco to the Bengals. Joe Flacco in a 6th-round pick, and the Bengals traded back a 5th-rounder. So essentially it just moved up 20 to 30 picks in the draft and gave them Joe Flacco. But now Joe Flacco is semi-competent. and can run that Bengals offense, especially with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and those playmakers, to at least try to hold on and keep the ship steady while Joe Burrow gets right. So we'll see how that goes. They play the Packers next week, who are coming off a bye week. So that now becomes kind of an intriguing game. Joe Flacco didn't do too much, but Joe Flacco's Browns beat the Packers earlier this year. So we'll see how that goes. But we'll talk more about that when we preview week 6 in the NFL season. We'll do some power rankings tomorrow and keep it moving. The NBA season also is just around the corner, and the WNBA finals are full on right now. The Las Vegas Aces have a 2-0 series lead as the series shifts back over to Phoenix. So that game's coming up. And baseball, Yankees, please win tonight so I don't have to sit here and watch you guys get swept by the Blue Jays. So, all right. Appreciate y'all. Talk to y'all soon.